No, I can't grow wings last time I checked. No, I... Can you say, what, like, hello, Mario? Do you want me to say that? It's a Rance reference. You can't do some things. And you may also notice, if you look down at your fleshy hands, you are also not a furry. Oh yes, do not believe. Don't think we're not going to be seeing them here today. Don't you doubt that. Do not doubt that. We're stuck with them. We're stuck. God help me. I'm not. But before I begin, I really need to address one very key thing. It is, I don't care what you're into. I think that's like an important thing for me just to say right now, is that I don't care what you're into. Everyone's got their kinks, everyone's got their thing with them. That's fine. I don't care. Uh, I'm okay with it. I'm there. I'm in 3 ERP discords for research purposes. Research purposes, mind you. I understand people are in some weird shit. But but these guys are odd. The reason why the games that we're going to see today are interesting are because they go beyond what we would consider normal. And ERP is actually not that complex. Like that, here's the, I'll give you all a quick format. So, looking here in our handy dandy notepad document, uh, ERP, we would think looks like this, but it's more like this. The actual like art, like role playing aspect, the actual like tabletop aspect is still a priority. It forms the basis of everything. The E, on the other hand, is kind of a presiding factor over everything. It kind of influences what's actually going to happen. Instead of a fade to black, you're getting you're getting something erotic with it. Instead of doing like, oh no, we've defeated you, it's something terrible's happening to you. That's kind of what it is. I've talked to people who have ran these games before, and a lot of the time it's like we barely even actually do that aspect because we're too busy playing something, which I find interesting. And one very fascinating facet I've learned over the time I've been with them is that the primary games that usually get selected for ERP games aren't like any of these. They aren't any of these like really like erotic focused games. They aren't really. Some are, but not. One might wonder what the point of having game mechanics in your spot. That's a very like important facet, and I want you to kind of keep that in the back of your mind as you're going through these games. But a lot of them are things like Pathfinder, D&D, like they're games just with that element at that point, with just that part in it, which you don't really think about that much until you see it, and then like I tell this joke every now and again, but I remember reading one where it's like, oh, we're going to be doing a fantasy RPG, and it's going to have we're going to be fighting monsters, killing demons, looting dungeons, having giant massive fudacocks, and like killing slime god. It's always right in the middle there. It's always that thing right in the middle where things get weird, and it's like, okay, like this is strange. I mean, now these games, instead of having it as this kind of like overriding issue, that thing that you have to kind of deal with at all times, it is instead this. It is, and these games are true ERP games, as they are. The erotic aspect is baked into it, and I think that is a fascinating idea behind it, because all the games we're going to be looking at today are things we cannot do. I want you to remember that. We cannot do any of these. As our human bodies are incapable of doing these things. Because I hate to break it to you all, we're not that flexible. I've looked at it. Things are just not how that that works. That is a disaster area waiting to happen. Do not try any of these at home. You joke, however, it gets worse. TM said she was 18, bro. The second game we're going to be looking at, that's not a requirement. Let's just say that. So, what are the three games we're going to be looking at today? Well, we're going to be looking at Maiesta, the Gravid RPG, Zettai Reido by Ryo Kamiya, which is actually one of my favorite developers. Not my favorite game, though. And FAPP. Yes, it's exactly spelled the way you think. That is the one that when I first read through the game, and before putting all the hoffs in, I gagged. I was dying a little bit on the inside. I will be looking at XXX Exalted. After I get done with the main games, I'm gonna probably just like explore some other odd ones because yeah, there is some really odd games out there that kind of take this aspect. Like originally Black Tokyo was supposed to be on here, which was a hentai D20 supplement. No VOD of this? Oh, there will be a VOD. There will be a VOD. Probably what's going to happen is the first 6 minutes are going to get cut out. The thing is, Mr. Y, is that it came out of nowhere. And when we get to it, you will understand that no matter how much desensitization you can go through, there are some things that will just kick you right in the dick, and there's nothing you can do about it. You will go back and you will have mental strain and damage, and you'll like look at it like, I'm going mad, I'm insane. FAPP is an odd duck. Like when we get to FAPP, it's I bet none of these are as bad as Fatal. Fatal is a meme game. Like you have to remember that Fatal is written by someone who is definitely not. Fatal's weird. One day, if I drink my sorrows away, I have a copy of it. It's in my USB. I have a copy. That's Fatal is not. You're thinking of Mayfarag. You're thinking of Varg there, Mr. Y. Varg burnt down the church and killed his friend. You know, Christian. Hi, Varg. Want to collab? Wink. So, what is the first game we're going to be looking at? Well, the three games we're going to be looking at are all interesting in their own way. Well, the game we're going to be looking at first is Maiesta, or Maiesta, depending on your pronunciation of it. I'm going to pronounce it both ways. Just kind of bear that in mind. Troll or mental illness? No, Mr. Wyatt is not. Very much not so. Fatal troll or mental illness? Who knows? It's Fatal came out at a weird time, and that's like one of those things. Like if you actually look at some of the history behind it, it's like, oh, what the fuck? So, what is this game? What is Maiesta? Well, to understand Maiesta, we have to do two things. Estefile, is that how you spell it? Ah, yes, okay. First things first, we have to look at the dictionary. Yeah, I know, you didn't really expect to come out to dictionary time. A maestophile is a sexual arousal by pregnancy, pregnant women, or childbirth. Now, I want you to look at this and just internalize everything we are going forward with this. Because out of all the games we're looking at here, all the three games we're really going to be looking at, this is the least E. This has such a small amount of E, I thought about not even putting it on the list. I thought about not even putting it on the list, honestly, because there just isn't that much. And I thought about it, I'm like, okay. Alright. what is this about? What is this game about? Outside of Mysophilia. Maiesta, the Gravid RPG. It's a lighthearted tabletop RPG about romping through dungeons, beating up foes, collecting loot. Also, you are pregnant. That is what this game is about. Now, what is this game actually? What is this? Who made this? Why? The main two people, like the main people I can really kind of identify are these three. And now you may also be wondering, Notepad, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this, Notepad? And yeah, this is all. There is no PDF of this game. Like this game right here, what the thing that you are seeing right now. I did this. I did this entire document. Because I thought it would be easier for me to kind of explain through rather than going through each of the DA pages. Because every single part of this game is broken down into DeviantArt pages. Now, this is just from a purely design standpoint. This is painful to actually deal with. But the main people are this cross-crescent woman. And yes, that's actually one thing I have to mention right now. According to my sources, all the actual writers and, main people are women. Not men. I'm surprised I saw stray loot. Oh, you probably did, but just didn't register it. Pokemon was a wild ride. This is one of the main ones. It's kind of hard to kind of get. I'm not. You may notice I'm not signed in or anything here, and the fact that I even have access to this, we can't really go through that much. Actually, here, give me 1 second. I do it for the meme. I'm doing it for the meme. I'm gonna sign in to fucking DeviantArt. Let me see if I can remember. Edit. Let me see. Mostly the reason why I'm not signed in right now is because Google likes just to immediately do it, and I'm very lazy. So if I do that one, it's this one. Nope. Trying to remember my fucking password for fucking DeviantArt. This is my life now. This is the kind of content that you come for. Me remembering my DeviantArt password. Let me see actually. Let me see. Is it here? No, it's not here. I said to myself, Notepad, you're never going to need to actually look at this because that's crazy talk. Why would you ever need to look at this? And the answer is this. I knew I forgot something. That's the worst part. It's I fundamentally know I forgot something. This one? Okay. Give me 1 second. See, this is the hardcore content you come for right here, folks. Me changing my DeviantArt password to make sure that I can find the weird Coom game. That's not the right password either. Fuck it. Fuck it. We're doing it live. Fuck it. I don't want to lie. I know what I know it's there. I know it fundamentally. Okay, fuck it. Fuck it. Okay, fuck it. We're gonna have to do it the jank ass way, aren't we? Okay, so we're gonna have to do it the jank ass way. Let me go back to the Maiesta RPG gallery. So if we click this, we click this, we click this, we click this. There we go. Yes, okay. So here's the Maiesta RPG page. I'm signed on Google. So what do I actually mean by all of this? So these are the core rules. Every single part of the rules here are here, and they're all formatted in a fucking DeviantArt page. Now, mind you, these aren't the core rules. They're the core rules, but not the core rules. This is the progression system, which is actually a really important part of the game, but you don't actually see it. So this actually goes over how everything actually is and all the various parts. Okay, but we're not done yet. Here are the adventure rules. This is a completely different system entirely. These are all here. Now, the astute observer, the person with 2 brains, can probably see that, hey, Notepad, there's a lot here. Why is there so much here? Why is there such an absurd amount of stuff here? Why is this so long? Why is this so annoying? And why is it the way that it is? And the answer is because this was entirely built from this was built here. And a lot of this came in to about 2017. Like, these are older. All of these. And they're all split up. And every single one of them is formatted ever so slightly differently. It is frustrating. Yeah, we'll actually go over that. Like, it's painful. It's agonizing, even, going over everything. But I said to myself, okay, I'm ready to go. Fuck it. We're doing it. Now, a majority of the art you're going to see is by Cross Crescent or one of the other women who worked on this game. And that's kind of an important note to have. Yeah, we have Innocent Doge here. Innocent Doge is here to protect us in case Notepad forgot something, which is very likely, by the way. So, let's go into it. Now, as I'm kind of like stating here, this game is a completely unofficial document. This is not a real PDF. This is me literally copy-pasting everything together. Now, one thing to note, and again, actually, give me 1 second. Cross Crescent is the main girl who does most things. I've seen artwork here. Artwork of this person. Not much else. Now, the astute, again, an astute observer, you can probably kind of notice by the fact that like 95% of their stuff is blocked because it's adult content. Lady Alarund is almost exclusively this. Like, Lady Alarund is almost exclusively Gravimancer and Cross Crescent. Like, I've heard rumors that technically Lady Alarund is Cross Crescent or not, but they also have our different people on their Discord. It's kind of hard to say, but I think this is, if not the main person, one of the central figures. But this is the game. Now, 149 members, 498 watchers. There's a few people. There's a few people in this game who kind of like work on this and such. Now, it seems pretty dangerous to take a baby with you on a quest. Oh, my friend, you thought it would be that simple. Oh, no, no, no. So, one of the things is, this game is, if I'm doing my math right, came out about 2015, 2016. So it's about 5-6 years old. However, the second edition, this edition we'll be looking at, came out in 2017. There has been updates throughout. Now, mind you, these aren't like major updates. Like, things from 2017 are roughly the same from when they to now. That's just a thing you have to deal with. Now, the reason why I even know about this, and the reason why probably a lot of people know about this, was that it was actually had a pretty decent following on TG for a very long time. And that's one of those moments where you're just like, wait a second, what do you mean? it had a following on TG, the the spooky scary 4chan site. Yeah, no, it had actually had like a pretty decent, I wouldn't say like extensive following, but it had generals, it had threads, it was a, a thing that people really enjoyed. We have some even back from 2020, 2021. This was back in January. Like, the earliest threads that kind of get mentioned are back in 2018, though sometimes things get a little bit changed around, and I've seen one as early as 2017 is when it was first getting mentioned. So second edition is kind of the main edition. Like, first edition, no one really talks about anymore. That's not really a thing. But we've gotten that out of the way. I can't really find anything else on like why it came out to, why did it come to exist? The only really answer I could find that why it came to exist was because someone wanted it to. Now, I have this note right here. Is this a fetish RPG? I have no idea. Because outside all of the things, outside all the weird, outside of all the pregnancy facets, all of those aspects, there is nothing really fetishistic about it. Like, they explain everything, and it's you look at it being like, from a completely, like, if I take a step back, from a completely story-based perspective, I understand. However, as I kind of write here, it's no fucking idea. There's like nothing sexual occurring in the book. Remember, there's nothing sexual occurring in the book. Outside of the entire pitch being like that, and hence we find with a battle maid, it's. And the majority of the artwork is done by Cross Crescent or one of the others. Now, you may notice I haven't really talked about the dice system yet, like I usually do. However, the dice system is insane. The dice system is written by a crazy person. The dice system was clearly written by someone who has zero understanding what the fuck fun is. Or it was written by someone who only will ever play this online. Pretty much all actions are based around the type of dice being, quote, rolled. And bronze dice, silver dice, gold dice, and crystal dice. Those are the main ones. Platinum dice are in there too, but they're only for like very special situations. Now, the idea is that every class has something assigned to them. Your attack is silver, your defense is bronze. Some things like that. What you do to calculate your bronze dice is 2d2 minus 2. I want you to mentally get that in your mind. 2d2 minus 2. Silver dice, 2d2. Gold dice, 2d2 plus 2. And when I first read this, I thought I was wrong. I thought I got a bad document. I thought something was wrong. I kept looking. No, this is the system. It is a D2 system. So basically you throw coins. Not really. You can't do that. Because it's dependent on... I guess you can if you were doing it on the table, but it's very odd. Very odd of the way it sometimes does it. Because the thing is, you get results such as this. The bronze dice are special 4-sided dice, which is 0, 1, 1, 2, or 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6. Then you get things like the platinum dice. You don't roll platinum dice. They're always 7. It's a D1 with one side being 7. Now crystal dice are just D10s, but they aren't really used. Oh, paladins here. We're not bringing up paladins here. Fuck Sati. I don't like her. But usually it's made against specific threshold or an opposed check. Opposed checks are exactly what you think about. However, you will critically fail, you will fumble, if you roll a 0, 2, or a 4 on any of those dice. Pretty much if you roll the minimum result. However, if you roll the maximum result, you get a critical. This is good. Certain mechanics reference criticals or fumbles. Now, The problem is each dice does this. So you may have different dice doing this at once. You may be rolling 2 bronze dice, or a bronze and a silver dice, or a gold and a bronze dice. And there are other mechanics which just get rid of dice or empower certain dice. Hence why you get things like platinum, which is always 7. You can get rid of a platinum dice because that's that. Oh. So, yes. There's also a couple, there's dice tricks. You can empower them by changing the upper rank, and then you can destroy a dice, which just removes it from the check. Now, this is what a majority of the artwork is like. And now you're also finally seeing that this isn't quite a, this is not a pregnancy RPG. This is not a game about pregnancy. No, 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 no. This is a game about hyper pregnancy. And in case you're wondering, yes, there are mechanics for this. Because this game is actually entirely combat-based. In a majority of situations, this game is combat-based. And your basic attributes, you have capacity, affinity. Your capacity is pretty much how large you can get. And trust me, this number can get big. Affinity is how much, your maximum value of your gravitas, which is like your mana. Your battle rating, your armor rating, which is kind of how you oppose, how you attack and how you oppose, which is like ranks, like your battle rating may be battle rating bronze or battle rating silver. Armor rating bronze, armor rating silver. That's what you're rolling. Your movement, how fast you can actually move, how much health you have, how fucking big you are. That's an important thought. Like, that's how fucking huge you are. Your fatigue, your physical exhaustion. You know, you reduce your movement by the amount of fatigue, and your gravitas, which is, again, your mana. Now, you see anything about that? About you say, oh, you know, how do I wish to be huge? Well, do I have? Oh, do not doubt that. Do not doubt this. It is, it's there, all right. It's definitely there. Oh, don't you doubt it. I wonder if I can actually. Okay. Give me 1 second. I need to go there to show you the size chart of like how. This is actually an important idea. I'm not like just memeing at it, being like, haha, look, it's funny, hyper preg, go brrr. No, I'm like actually like trying to give you guys an idea of what the fuck this game is. I feel that is an important aspect of what the game, how this game actually even functions in a way. Now, this is the size chart. Now, what it is that you as a Maiesta, you attract gravs. What is a grav? A grav is pretty much a prepubescent spirit, pretty much a pre-spirit that you need to nurture and eventually release into the greater world. As you release to the greater world, they become part of the actual cycle of things. Now, there is no sex in this game. Technically, you do not have to have sex with anything to have a kid. You can literally have a virgin pregnancy in this game, and this is fine. And the children aren't really kids. They're spirits. They are these very bizarre. Actually, give me 1 second. I just noticed something on the corner there. Oh no, there's a lot. There we go. Hi, Vada. We're looking at the Maiesta RPG. This is the size chart. The idea is that you can attract as many spirits as you want. You can as many grabs as you want, and arguably, you are encouraged to, because the more grabs you have, the more power you're getting. You get stronger the more of these pre-spirits that you have, that you're pretty much nurturing to, quote, adulthood, as they enter the cycle of spiritual awakening. Now, obviously, since there is no limit, there's no line, you can go as big as you want. And that's just something we, as a society, as a species, have to understand here going forward. That this is not an RPG of pregnancy. This is a hyper-preg RPG. And but again, there's nothing degenerate about it. There's no sex. There's no eroticism, really. There's no aspect about this game which is directly saying, hey, do weird pervert things. No part of this game is that. It's actually almost disincentivized just because of the nature of how you function. But all gravs are, there's gravs for everything. And you have it's, a grav can come from anything. It can be the grav of dust, time, bunny rabbit. It just doesn't matter. You're just taking in the spirits of reality. Now, the main gravs are ardents, of, emotions, passions, energy, movement, destruction, astrals, community, ideology, faith, healing, spirituality, erudite, intellectualism, mordant, endings, absence, negative energy, savages, which are just growth, life, nature, and instinct. Now, this is one of the other major issues with this game that I personally have a major issue with. And can you see it? Can you see also mech RPG? Except you're the mech. That is a class, by the way. I'm not memeing either. It's a class. Not really a mech, but broodmother. Yes. But this is one of the major issues with the game. Like, one of the core issues is that there's a lot of fucking there are these block texts. And in case you're wondering, like, oh, Notepad, you just didn't do it right. No, this was me copy-pasting it. You end up, all gravs offer the bearer same 2 points of gravitas by default. This gravitas can be spent on any number of abilities that you have. If pretty much gravs won't kill you. If your movement is ever 0, you can attract additional one. Your movement is 0, you cannot move. Like, you are impossible to move. And it's difficult to get up to that point, mind you, because most people have a movement of like 5, 4. If you go over your capacity, you start taking away from your movement. This is some of the sample characters. You notice the broodmother example over here, the shield mother, and I can't remember what she is. But now, we can't have a pregnancy RPG. It's DeviantArt, Ajax. That's the problem. It's DeviantArt. You can't really. So you have these like giant sections of text. Like, I did some like that were just impossible to read, and there are some sections that I had to actually kind of like mix around. Like, technically this section, and this section are in completely different web pages. And I actually didn't even know where the hell they were at first, because this is actually in the experience section, how to actually improve your character, for no reason. So, the idea is, you need, after 100 XP, you can birth one. Yes, that is a mechanic, and now all of these are important to it. Pretty much at 100 XP, you have the option of birthing a grav. Why would you? No, why would I want to birth a grav? Because that's your job, 1. And 2, So you can get another one. Yeah, that's an important aspect. So you can get another one. Pass eggs. Yeah. Don't think we're getting past that. Don't think. No. It's yeah. Is there actually any like mechanical incentive to do this? No. At least I didn't see one. Also, when we get to classes, you will understand the sheer fucking madness of classes. Literally Avatar, but pregnant. Yes. Literally Avatar, but pregnancy. Now, one of the ideas is cravings. Now, cravings, when I first read like this, a satisfying cravings, I looked at myself, I went to my bathroom, I looked myself in the mirror, and I said, Notepad, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Why are we here? But then I read on. The idea is that these gravs want something. They want to experience something or pretty much grow. Now, all of these are things that are a little bit more esoteric than traditionally what we would think of cravings. Like, I must have pickles now. No. These are things like, for example, we'll just do an erudite. Erudites are intellectuals, so they want things like, I want to seek answers for the unexplained, dive into mysteries, and unearth the truth where no one else seems to be willing to do so. Erudites are curious, and that curiosity is worth nurturing. Or you might have, things like a mordant. It's connect with someone you care about, writing a letter, going to visit them, or something similar. While those we love might be far away, it's important to teach that they are never truly beyond our grasp. This is actually kind of interesting. I like this aspect. I actually enjoy this idea. The idea that we have these spirits inside of us who don't understand what their purpose is. So we need to give them purpose. We need to have, kind of show them what they're supposed to be understanding. Which is kind of an interesting idea if you kind of apply it to the greater sphere. Like, hey, how do we teach a spirit of... Yeah, Gravs wants to teach us the ultimate goal is friendship, but we made along the way. Yeah, pretty much. Like, if you have a spirit of, bunnies, for example. I enjoy the game. I enjoy the game about pregnancy. Not quite. Don't misquote me. I enjoy a mechanic in the game about pregnancy. I enjoy an idea behind it. Very different, similar context. This idea is actually very thematic and very cool. Basically, dungeon raids are baby showers, to a degree. From what I gathered from the Discord, there is a lot of RP stuff that goes on, but it's not really reflected well in the mechanics. That's kind of one of the biggest issues. And really, the only one who really wants you to get into fights are savage gravs, because they're supposed to be that. If you have a spirit of literal blood, death, and warfare inhabiting you, do you want him to, no, you want him to, understand, yeah, fighting is great. You want to embrace fighting. Because that's what he's craving. That's what he wants. Or it. Because it's a spiritual understanding. Very odd. Very strange. Now, mind you, individual gravs. Now, individual gravs are individual. Mate, you're doing the pregnancy RPG, you're probably doing something. Don't worry about it. We're all weirdos here. Now, combat is actually where the majority of the game comes in, which is one of the weirdest parts about it. What you do, you roll a D100 for initiative. Why? Because God is dead. I don't know. Now, this is the actions aren't really defined, but these are what the actions really look like. There's actually quite a bit of stuff that goes on with this. Here's some basic attacks, defending, recovering, moving. Okay, this is pretty simple. However, at the start of the character, you pretty much get a utility action, sudden action, and a major action. That's actually pretty decent. You're actually getting quite a bit of ideas going on with that, and there's a lot of maneuvering you can do. Especially when you have a character that may look like this. And yes, this game is entirely hex-based. You have, burst effects, teleportation effects, oversized creatures, monster categories. For some reason, Vanish was its entire section that really needed to. Yeah, and then you have things like Titanic creatures occupy 19 hexes. Large creature 3 hexes. It's very odd. When you get some of these ideas, then you kind of put the numbers together, and you're like, wait a second, is this fucking 4E? And then when you realize the game is 4E, everything snaps into place. And because there are a bunch of conditions, and each of these conditions do something. Like, hey, you want to be dizzy? Yeah, whenever a character fumble one of their dice on a check, destroy that die. This triggers independently of every fumble die in the check. Blighted. Here's an entire section on Blighted. Here's an entire section on Mobilize, Mesmerize, Pin, Scanned. You are doing all these, right? You are keeping track of all of these. You start with 200 XP to spend on how you wish, and you're mostly spending it on your class abilities. However, for some reason, they don't tell you how you can increase your attributes except inside of the class for reasons. Don't ask why. Because these are your attribute advances. And every single attribute is like these. It's boost your infinity by 1, and boost your capacity by 1, increase movement, increase vitality by 3. It's a bunch of these are like 1 or 3 times, and you kind of take a second, you're like, wait a second. You take a second, you're like, wait a fuck, yeah. Oh, and this, what I have written here, this is nothing. This is literally a stopgap, because if I didn't do this, it would be almost impossible to read, because I'd have to go to DeviantArt for everything, and DeviantArt hates me. Now, okay, you're looking at it like, wait a second. Specializations, pretty much every class has a set of specializations that they can go into. And those specializations are like adjacent classes that do something different but have different abilities associated with them, and you have to sub out certain abilities. And you're like, wait a second, there's also a retraining ability, which you can refund your abilities that you don't like and sub them out for new abilities. Oh, and oh yeah, of course there's experience. You didn't think there's experience tiers? Of course there's experience tiers. Once you hit 1,000 worth of advances, you progress to veteran. Once you're in veteran, guess what? You get a veteran class. That veteran class is like a better class, and you're getting a bunch of new abilities with it, a bunch of new options, which are really cool. Except your classes aren't fighter, it's not warrior, it's not paladin, it's not mage. No, it's this. Why? Who knows? Who knows? Honestly, I could have actually. Here's the thing: retraining sounds lazy way to excuse bad feats and very video gamey. It's once you kind of see some of the abilities, you do not. How do I want to word it? There are builds in this game. There are a certain amount of abilities that. Yeah, of course. What do you expect? That's a class, goddammit. Like, there are builds. Like, I made a sample character. Damn straight I made a sample character. It says, is that D10 with complications? Oh, you mean the adventure rules. A completely different side mechanic, which uses completely different mechanics, and a completely different set of experience points. But yes, it is! The adventure rules system is by far the stupidest fucking part of this game. It's very odd, and it really clashes with some of the other aspects of it. This was... there is like a non-updated version, but this is the updated, so I'm like, okay, obviously this has to be it. This was a stopgap. I could definitely tell this was written... Where's the PDF for this? Or yeah, I'm probably going to drop it in there. You're like, yeah, no, I made this PDF. Like, it's bad. It doesn't even have everything. And we're going to go over, once we go look over my character, we can go over that. So, at their heart, the non-combat elements, it's an adventure check. It's literally roll a d10, get a roll a d10, 1 to 5, get a complication, you fail, 6, 7, 8, you succeed with complication, 9, 10 succeeds. That's literally everything. However, you also get things. Oh yeah, one thing to note as well. You may notice there's no races, because there's literally an entire subsystem about that. We'll get to that in a moment. So, the entire idea is the adventure challenge. You have to make a set of ability checks to make sure that you actually get in there. That's really it. If allowed to reach 0, the threat will have consequences for the party. Oh no! But something is going wrong. Oh no! This entire section is really bizarre and uses a completely different XP section called Adventure XP. Quite literally, it's just called Adventure XP. AXP. It's like story complications, dangerous situations, and you can call upon your gravs to help you with things. If you call upon your grav to do something, it's like, hey, I have, let's just say our example, our rabbit grav that we have in us, our savage rabbit grav. I can call upon that when I'm making an agility check, and I'm gonna go fucking super fast, because I have a fucking rabbit inside of me. However, you now have to satisfy another craving from it. Like, alright, that's fine. And then, this is a fairly bog standard system. You subtract a die from the adventure check. This would reduce the pool of dice to 0. 2 dice take the worst result. It's a fairly standard, advantage-disadvantage system. Nothing too exciting. You also, don't think you're going to avoid that. Bleached D20 classless. Oh god, I know what you're talking about. Ara. Yeah, Ara. You can very much tell, like, what they enjoy. And in case you're wondering, yes, I had to format every single one of these, and it was a bitch. It was a pain in the ass. Now, this is just a sample class. Now, for one thing to note, the class system is actually kind of interesting for 2 reasons. One, each class actually has a shit ton of abilities. So, I only put a small amount. Overall, there are 12 Shield Mom passives. These are novice passives. These aren't, like, advanced at all. There's 12 of these, and there are 30 abilities. You're going to start with 2 at most. There are a lot of options here, and all of those options kind of play into each other, and you kind of have to work with other people because some effects... It's one of those ideas as some effects... You can't generate these effects. Only another class can generate these effects. And you look at it and you look at it more and you're like, am I smoking something? And there's like an absurd amount of choice. And everyone starts with their basic abilities. Now, I did put all the basic abilities for the Shield Mother because this was my example class. Overall, there are... let me bring it up here real fast. Let me see, where is the classes? Oh, yes, of course. I forgot. Each one of them is in their own special section. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 base classes, and all of them roughly have about the same number of abilities. And this isn't even going into their specializations or their veteran classes. It's pretty simple, and they're usually pretty standard array of classes. Shield Mother is a shield. Rage Bearer hits you in the head. Primal is kind of that angry me hit you. Predator is kind of like a more aggressive ghost. Hungry Ghost is like a less aggressive rogue. Gravimancer is your mage. Brood Mother is like your weird support class that literally deals with broods. Alchemister is an alchemist. And then you have the Heritor. The Heritor is actually pretty interesting. And brings in a very fascinating aspect of this game. And that very fascinating aspect is very simple. Dual classing is available. Dual classing is not only available, it's encouraged in some aspects. Now, even if we look through here, if we scroll all the way up here a bit to here, this is a Wraith Maiden. This is a hungry ghost mixed with a shield mother. You don't really get, I don't think you get the veteran class, but you give the options between all of the class abilities. And this is actually really cool. Like, outside the theme, the idea is actually kind of interesting because you can really mix things up. Because scroll down. Suddenly those 12 passes, 13 to 30 of these, suddenly balloons to 40 of these, and 50 of these that you can mix and match and kind of play off each other. And each of them is actually not too complicated to understand, which is, I think, very important with games like these. So, for example, you have things like Rally Cry. You spend your mana, you have some keywords that kind of play off other keywords. You roll a silver die, restore that much vitality to allies, and burst one centered on you. I'll start your next turn, roll an additional silver die on armor checks while adjacent to you. Okay, cool. Okay, very simple, very simple. And then you get some of these are, again, only a small amount, but you get things like Guardian Waltz. Whenever you interpose a basic ability or make a weapon attack when it's not your turn, you can move up to 3 hexes after a sudden action or weapon attack resolves. You're pretty much able to move around the field. So if you want to shift your shield mother into the idea of, like, I'm a really rapid response, beat the shit out of you, you can. If you want to do really heavy armor, that's what you can do. Whenever you take damage, like Guardian's Grudge, take damage, hit harder. If you take 1 damage, you also get that. Your Heroic Idol. The idle keyword can affect up to 3 hexes rather than 2. Oh, wait, idle, you say? It's almost like some of my abilities play off of idle. So you're kind of seeing this kind of weird interplay between various abilities and various ideas, all going at once. And each of them has different abilities, different contexts. That's why that retraining is there, because these are quite literally they're quite literally so many options. You need something like that, because if you don't have it, someone's going to make a bad build if they don't understand the game, or they're not going to understand something right away. So you need that aspect, and that was kind of a weird call, but I understand it. Sudden action used attacked by a target. The attack now targets no creatures other than you. Oh no! Now, specialization is the Lawbringer. These are literally, you take the base class, you remove some aspects, you take some. You can't take any of these abilities, however, you get new basic abilities. And you get new basic things, and the Lawbringer is quite literally Big Thick Mom fucks you up because you're being naughty. And she has a gun, because that's what wands are in this game, in this world. Wands are guns. We'll get to that in a second, actually. And then you have the veteran class. I only did the fortress, but I think there's like 4 or 5 veteran classes. Each of them also has a set of abilities, set of options that you are allowed to take, but you need certain abilities and certain ideas with it. This is actually, again, the thing with Maiesta is that if you remove the aspect of it, if you remove this aspect right here, you end up in a very odd situation where the people who wrote it, Lady Alaroon and Cross Crescent, definitely knew what they were doing. This is not a... This was written by people who definitely understand what they were wanting to make. And I respect that as a developer. I respect that as someone who writes games. However, this is also written by people who have been playing the same thing for 4 years. 5, 6 years even. This is so kind of caught up in their own ideas. That's why things such as, the dice mechanics are the way they are. The reason why, oh, well, we don't have any rules for non-combat stuff, what do? Fuck, I guess we'll just write something in. We'll write some weird updated adventure rules. It's a little bit messy. That's like probably my biggest complaint about this game. Outside of, well, obviously. Outside of that, I think it's a pretty good idea. There's some good ideas in here that's kind of hampered by the fact that it's been kind of, I wouldn't say taken up, but I think it's it kind of reminded me of Dobra Nui, the Bionicle RPG. The Bionicle RPG was written by a small group of people who wanted to do a very small group of things, and they did, and that's like one of the things that they really wanted to undertake. And for lack of a better word, they did, even if it kind of led to the downfall of the game. Now, this is my character that I made. Yes, I made a full character in this game because I wanted to see how it worked. Now, this is all predetermined. All of this, predetermined. Because I never went over the weapon system. Because, yeah, there's an entire weapon system. Every single weapon does something different. Every single one of them. And, oh, you want polearms? Well, polearms get these advantages. Claws? Well, these get a completely different thing. Don't even talk about blades. Blades are awesome. Blades are cool. Okay, so, okay, that's fine. That's fine. But, oh, wait a second. There's also, what's this? An entire race building section? Oh, wait a second. Give me 1 second. Because, yeah, there's an entire section on race building. Maybe wondering, Notepad, why is there an entire section on race building? Why is there an entire derived section about this? Like, here's an entire race builder, and the race builder actually works. And there's actually quite a few options here, like a weird amount of options. And you get 4 RP that make whatever race you want. And this is encouraged, because you kind of need some of these. Some of them are actually pretty interesting. And, like, here's a bunch of options with their racial quirks. They don't do anything, they just kind of influence things. And it's like, oh, okay. You're looking at things, and you're wondering what's made this. So, me, personally, my racial, I made Mother. I made a moth girl, because I was seeing, like, can I do it? And the answer is, yeah, you can. All these options here, they're right here for you. Cool. That's just there. You know, I have all my basic abilities. I played a hungry ghost solely because Sleep said I should. Blaine Sleeps. Remember that. And I looked at things and I realized that the game shoots itself in the foot by its formatting, because this is the helper sheet that I used. It's the helper edition, just to help me kind of go through everything to make sure I was doing things right. And it was very predetermined. Like, I understand, like, you really need, this is the kind of game you sit around with a bunch of people and play, like, hey, it's fun. Can you change this game? No. I don't know. Well, I think this is going on to a larger point I want to make. I'll make you go away. So, a lot of these games, actually I can say, a lot of games in general have interesting ideas, fascinating ideas even, that are kind of hampered by the fact that it's like, hey, are you ready for porn? It's time for porn. And everyone looks at it, it's like, oh no, oh no, it's porn. Oh no, it's pornography now. And there comes or you can say that with a lot of games. There's like some aspect about it that I don't like. Wait a second, damn it. And I remember hearing from someone, you can just refluff it. Yes, Dastara or Zon. Zon, and you can say, you can refluff everything. and it'll be fine. The game fixes itself. I am not a firm believer in that. I believe it in sometimes that you can make minor changes, but like when there comes a point when you have such a central identity, it's hard to go against it. Which brings me to the second game. And I have been told by the very people translating this game that you can refluff it into something wholesome and not lewd and everything. Everyone's having a fun time for the whole family. It's great! Yes, it's Zettai Reido. Now, what is Zettai Reido? Well, Zettai Reido comes from our boy Ryu Kamiya. Now, if that name sounds familiar, it's because it should. Ryu, and even this artwork, you're looking at it like, wait a second, that looks a lot like Golden Sky Stories. The answer is, because it's the same guy and artist. Oh no! Yes, Golden Sky Story. Like Ryu Kamiya's next. The next game we're going to be looking at. We've gone over him quite a few at this point. Is I like Ryu Kamiya. Ryu Kamiya is actually a really fascinating dude, and he's made a bunch of games. He's made Golden Sky Stories, the Maid RPG, Necronica, Ditako Saga, Draku Scourge, which will never get translated. God damn it, guys. And Zettai Reido, and as well as Ventigal at this point, which, when it gets translated, damn straight we're doing it. Now, this is where things get a little bit messy. Is a lot of these games kind of play similarly. Maid came out in 2004, and I can't remember when ZR came out. Actually, give me 1 second. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna yell at my degenerates. Let's see. Actually, wait. Why don't I just go to the ZR? This literal ZR Discord. We'll go to general. Quick question. When did Zettai Reido actually come out? Question mark. There we go. So, he has a track record. A pretty good one. Like, Necronica is one of my favorite games. I adore Necronica. I think Necronica is a fucking artwork. I think it's a fabulous game. Golden Sky Stories, a brilliant game. Love it to death. Maid RPG, not my particular favorite game, but I understand why it is some people's favorite game. Why it is so powerful. Why people love it so much. Zettai Reido is the other one. ZR has been historically kind of a bugbear to many. And it's been a bugbear to many because its translation has been sporadic. For a very long time, even if you Google now, a lot of people say, oh, the ZR translation is entirely done by like one page. Like, nothing is done. That is incorrect. This is the most updated version of it. Is there a lot of machine translation? To a degree. Is it fully translated? Absolutely not. Is it playable, however? Yes. And we also get our first instances of the Hoffening. And trust me, there will be more Hoffs. But is ZR playable in its current state? Yes, I've heard good things that it's completely playable. It's great, it's wonderful, everyone has fun with it. Hell, I was forced to make a character for it. However, do I like ZR? I'll just say it right now. Do I like ZR? Not really. I'm not a fan. But pretty much, in ZR, you play as demons. Not just, oh no, demons. No, you are playing demons, residents of Makai, pretty much hell. And you are immortal. You are immortal. You are way more powerful than most people. You are insane and you're strong. However, being an immortal demigod who doesn't really need to do anything means you get really fucking bored. What do you do? You fuck. Oh, what, like Disgaea RPG? Nah, it's not Disgaea. Oh no 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 no! Oh no 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 no! God, I wish. God, I wish. But it has the same idea. Sorry, same idea, very different application. Now, the idea is you are playing demons. You are residents of Makai, and you are doing your best to kind of do what you want to do. You want to enslave people. You want to fuck people. You want to kill people. Why? Because you are a demon. And they keep telling you that, like, throughout the entire book, like, you are not really you're a debatably functional person because you are an immortal demon. You're not really threatened by dying. Why would you be? You're immortal. The only thing that can kill you is an angel, really, or a hero. But they're rare, and they can also be fucked. It's very dangerous. You're kind of always against one another, but you're also not against one another. It's this is Makai and you are a demon. You're gonna keep getting told that throughout this entire thing. This is Makai. Like, this is like one of the ideas is that there is a distinct set of master-slave dynamics. Demons that dominate and be dominated. Because if you're an immortal, you sometimes want to do that. Because you have nothing better to do. What do you do against other immortals? You try to enslave them. It's an Angeru. Yeah, and just because of the fact that you are so powerful, if you're defeated, you'll carry on as a slave. That's fine. As long as you aren't killed by an angel, demon will keep growing. There is kind of like the logical endpoint. And the logical endpoint is you become great demon king, which is more like demon god, and invade heaven. Yes, that is the end goal of the fucking game. You invade heaven, because we're apparently SMT now. Don't worry. Fuck it. Who cares? But it's also not about that at the same time. All the lore stuff is there to justify this. Yeah, there are a few support rules. This is the idea. This is what you want to do. Now, yes, you invade heaven and go fuck God. Yes, that is encouraged. There are entire sub-rules for angels, mind you. Now, one thing about this game in general, one thing that's kind of important to understand is that it is, as long as the players and GM like whatever sexual preference that would be against society's moral, as long as it's done in ERP, it's fine. Whatever it's against something, don't do it. For players that dislike bestiality, exclude hellhound from violators. For players who dislike scat, exclude bottom worms, and don't keep throwing MILF demons at a player. As stated before, as stated previously in many different cases, as I have frequently told people, Ryukami is a lolicon. There is aspects that he does have very particular tastes in that regard. As we're going through here, understand that. It's not going to be pleasant. There's going to be some parts in this that I was like, ooh, wow, that's no. Ryu's weird for Japan standards, Mr. Y. Ryu's weird. Like, Ryu, it kind of pushes it a little bit further. And in Necrotica, he hides it, I think. He manages to kind of sneak it in there with a good... he manages to tell it that if you were to really pitch it to someone, you could probably not mention it at all. This one's a little bit more on the nose. More than on the nose. So, yeah, this is now, yeah, this game is odd because it's really about having 1 to 2 players. Really about 1. Like, it's mostly game for you, a GM, and 1 player to play this. And that's what this game is really encouraging. Because it's, well, what it is. And the game also breaks down if you don't do that. Just remember that. Now, I haven't gone over the dice system because the dice system is a trademark. Ryu Kamiya is fucking insane. And that system is, let's doubt it kind of sounds like it lets down its high concept. No, it commits fully to the high concept in more than a few ways. ZR does anyway. Every aspect about this game is you are a demon, fuck things. Enslave them, do terrible. Every single aspect of that game kind of fills into it. And that is one of the parts that I love most about Ryu. Ryu is a weird guy. He does weird shit for weird reasons. But every single one of his games is all about that central core concept. There is no part of this game that does not say this is the core concept. Now, the dice system is 2DR. This is one of the main dice systems anyway. What's 2DR? Pretty much, if we go down here, you roll a d6. Well, you roll 2d6 most of the time. And you want to get under your attribute level. That's what it is. So if I have an attribute of 6, I need to get under 6. However, if you roll a 6, you roll a 0. So the idea is pretty much you roll and you try to get under. That's really all it is. 6s are good, 5s are bad. That's pretty much it. Then it gets a little bit stranger. Mostly because it gets here. Pretty much what you need to do is you need to find the success value. Success value is kind of what we would traditionally say is a target number. So if I have an ability of 6 and a success value of 2, if I rolled a 2, I would have a success value of 4. There's pretty much, like, you can almost say it's a 2-step. And so you roll, try to get under your attribute, your ability, and then you try to get the success value. If you roll under your ability, you kind of succeed, but not really. If you get the success value, you succeed. There's also some more trademark, D66s and question mark, and just like a basic D6 check. Pretty standard stuff. Hello, Hoff, and yes, don't think that these are. I'll leave it to your imagination, whatever the fuck you believe what's under these images of David Hasselhoff protecting us. Now, don't think we're getting away from the charts. Do not think this at all. We are committing to the charts. You love the charts. I love the charts. We all love charts. Charts are fun, and there are a lot of charts. So, for example, I'm going to open up the, you may be wondering, Notepad, what is this? This is, these are the charts. Yes. They don't have the charts in anything else except a text document. If you want an answer why that's the case, I don't know. But this is literally all of the charts for everything that you could want. And this is what you're really rolling. You're rolling all your demonic trait. Let's make a key roll here. I rolled, let's not roll that one. 2 and a 5. I rolled 25. I have glasses right here. I have +1 intelligence, -1 agility, and I wear glasses. Cool. Some can get a little bit weirder. You get things like regeneration, like +1 physical, -1 magic power. Like, it's, and mind you, none of these mean anything. None of them mean anything. Like, just strictly mechanically speaking. And that's fine, because again, it's more about the idea of you're boosting up your attributes a little bit, but like being undead doesn't mean anything different than being, a tauric person. Doesn't matter. Get weird, it's fine. That's one of the major things about the game, You want to roll on all the charts. We love all the charts. It's fun. Everyone likes rolling on the charts. You get items and spells. Guess what? You roll on the chart to get your items and your spells. Hello, phone. You want star. Get souls, which are currency. Get equipment, which is exactly what you think it is. It's equipment. You want to get all these things. You want to get you have your HP, your MP, and your self-esteem, your pride points. If you ever reduce to 0 pride points, guess what? You're someone's butt slave now. Have fun. Fuck you. You also get welcome to machine translation. You determine your character's personal data and all the other gender-wise. Yeah, here's the entire. God bless you, Ryu. And just to kind of give you the idea of like the sheer amount of charts and how important those charts are. Also, another note, the examples given a lot of the time with Milcina Sensei's class. Oh no. Oh wow. I wonder how old he is. He's 11. This boy's 11. Yes. No, your self-esteem determines how much PP you have. Very different. Yes, technically you have to make a self-esteem check to. You have to make a self-esteem check to not reduce your pride points when they're training. Yeah. And yeah, you look at it, you're like, oh, and now here's some of the sample characters. Okay, yeah, here we go. Like, it's a devil. Wow. Like, fun fact, that's just a giant penis right there. I tried my best to like keep as much open as possible, but I'm good. I'm not that good. Hi, Mr. Yeah, there are some that are just like, you're just David Hasselhoff. Why that's it? Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, there are quite a bit of ideas of like, here's how you roleplay them, full extent of your capabilities. The fact there's the entire section on the idea of looping back, at least he credits the artist. Yeah, like, well, the thing is, a lot of these guys are the same people because Ryu works in a circle. And in kind of the Japanese idea of a circle, it's these guys all work together to make stuff. They kind of work together to make things and publish them, and they distribute the funds to the circle, and everyone gets paid. Ryu's just the writer, and kind of like the front man out of band. He's usually the one that people kind of recognize the most. But all the artwork and stuff is done by people in his circle. But one of the odd parts is that you can have children. However, both sides must consent. That's one big thing about demons. Both sides. Pregnancy is a very important thing. However, since you also have the logical conclusion of this, if a slave does not wish for it at the bottom of their heart, a child won't be born. That said, the slave might receive even worse treatment as a result. Yeah. Ta-da! Dark vision. The fact that people kind of understand one another. Yeah, when I saw this image right here, I kind of like fully understood. I'm like, wait a fucking second. Yeah, like I looked at this. When I was looking here, I'm like, wait a second, that is just Golden Sky Stories. Oh fuck, like no, oh geez, Rick. But checks are actually pretty simple to do. We already kind of went over how to do them. The idea is you want to beat them. You beat them, they reduce their health. You don't beat them, you don't reduce that health. Ta-da! That's really what combat's, kind of there. Your ability checks with all of these, kind of exactly what you think it is. Yes, one of the checks is technically called servitude. Yes, one of your attributes is servitude. Mr. Y, I will ban you. I will ban you too, Eric. You're both getting banned if you continue along this this line of speaking. Yes, that is a very tactile part of the game. That is a very important part of the game, actually. The spells, exactly what you think they are. Spells require MP to cast. Spells can be actually pretty insane. I think as Golden Sky Stories is really wholesome. I love Golden Sky Stories. I think the game is like beautiful, and I think that game is like innocent as all hell. It's always weird to remember Ryukami is a fucking degenerate, but he wrote something so wholesome and sweet. It's like, what? My god, man, you are a genius, but also a complete fuck up. Yeah, you get a lot of these, and then welcome to placeholders. I put ZR in the middle because I was going fast. Because a lot of this is fairly standard stuff. Combat is exactly the way you think about it. You make an attack. One weird thing is that technically there's no movement abilities in this game. You do not move around. It's the yin to this game's yang. Yes, you could argue that. Now, one thing about movement is that you are either currently fighting or trying to run the fuck away. Or trying to find them. Those are your two states of movement. You are running away or you are good. You are in combat. I think that's it's a weird way of doing it, but it like makes sense. So, actions. Attacking. Alright, you just beat the shit out of someone. Move. Alright, you just want to run away. Activates. Temptation. Check against the target's temptation. If the target fails to resist with self-esteem, they enter charm status. Charm is really dangerous. Check against the target with physique. If successful, regardless of the target's status and without spending any additional action, you may train them. Target that's charmed, in heat, or incapacitated, you may train them. Service. It's inside. Masteration. Put a B in there. Concentrate. Perform self-esteem check. Restore the level amount of abnormal statuses and weight and other pretty standard stuff. It's like damage is like fighting isn't actually like a big part of the game. The main part of the game is, well, the next section. Your abnormal statuses are things like charmed. You know, your heart is stolen by the target. Something's going wrong. Oh no. In heat. And all of these have checks. These are very, very important to actually kind of understand what you're doing. Mostly because of once you end combat, how you level up is with dark stars. You get these, pretty much demon points or dark stars. They kind of go back and forth. You kill a target, you just get whatever it is. So if you have a dark star of 2, you're going to get 2 of these. However, actually no, it's double. Receive amount of DP equal to the amount of stars the target has. Target is an angel. Yeah. However, if you enslave a foe, you get 5 times their value. So if I fight a 2-star enemy and I cut their head off, I'm only going to get 2. I'm not getting that much. Why? Because I'm a fucking immortal demon. I don't give a shit. If I train them and enslave them, I'm getting 10. Because we want to. Because you want to do that. You want to enslave your enemies to get more experience points. Because that's what you level up. Every day we stray further from God. Yes, inflicting incontinence on an enemy is a very powerful idea because you're reducing their pride. And if you reduce their pride to 0, they become, slaves. Slave bad. Don't do that. Bearing a child. You receive -1 to all modifiers. Guess what? Congratulations. You also get that. And now, for more David Hasselhoff. Yes, this gets an entire section of training and servitude. This is really going to be kind of like the last section we really hardcore go over, because the rest is just a lot of charts. A lot of charts and training stuff. So, what is training? Well, for lack of a better word, yeah, this is what you buy the game for. Even my favorite thing, if you see this and frown or can't help but laugh, and you probably don't need this rulebook, you can likely burn or sell it. Yes, burn or sell it. That's one of the options. It's roleplay with Eros. The idea is this. This is actually one interesting idea. Every time you make a check, you have to describe it. If you describe it, you get a bonus. If you don't describe it, you get a pretty hefty penalty. Because, like, the max you're going to be getting is, like, 8, 9. Like, that's if you power a game. Like, you power game a little bit, you know, with this game. You're going to have about an 8 or 9. And, with a -2, that's a 7. If you have less than that, like, your experience is pretty bad. So you really want to up your abilities. Like, you really want to describe things. It's kind of like stunting, except stunting is a very important part. Spin those lewds in indecent words. If you do, the highest possible bonus is +5. That could also be like an automatic success. Familiar GM1 does not have to tightly follow the rules. Player may even evaluate their own performance. Your bonus higher than +1. No obligation to bonus capped at +5. Method of temptation. Yes. The idea is you check against their self-esteem. You want to violate their no, actually, I shouldn't use the term violation, because that's a different word. Now, the idea is you want to make sure they are charmed, that you're allowed to do it. It's a process. You want to make sure that they are susceptible to it. Once they are susceptible to it, you want to do it. You want to train them. You want to reduce their pride points down to 0. And that method is also called rape. Yes, it's right there. Right here. You can see it. Right there. 4 words. It's also called rape. ZR, why are you the way that you are? ZR, when I said earlier this game was not for the faint of heart. When I said earlier that this game, I do not judge people based on what their fetishes or anything is. One of the things I want everyone to remember if you're going down the rabbit hole like I do, I want everyone to remember. Close their eyes, understand. Everything's a little bit weird. People are into weird shit. Ryu is in some really weird shit, and this is one of them. The idea is that you're pretty much making a physique versus check. You have to pretty much break their physique to do this. If you can't do damage and you can't do these things, maybe it's a good idea to do something else. I actually encourage that when it comes to like attacking, because all weapons do static damage. If you can't hurt them, do something else. Do something very different, because they're not going to change. This is kind of the same thing. If they have a really high, if you don't really have a high physique, you're going to want to approach something from very differently. You want to kind of break them in a different method. The method of training, not higher combat and magic trial. You want to break their self-esteem. The more you break their self-esteem, the better things are going to go. That's what you want to do. Method of servitude. It's masturbation is how you heal. Congratulations. Now, as we go through the rest of this is literally kind of going over all the demon ranks and kind of more player information. The idea of like how slaves work. Pretty much slavery is entirely based around owning people. Don't doubt that. You want to own them. And usually it's outside of the fact that you are literally owned by the other person. They can use you in that regard. It's the idea of you want to use them for their very minor abilities, and they're useful for checks. Now, welcome to On GMing, exactly what you think about it. There's a lot of information here that isn't really... It's very Japanese design over here. And we also have all the enemies. Oof. My back's all fucked up now. Now, some of these are like very simple, you know. Let me see if I can get down to the bigger ones. Yeah, if you're also noticing a lot of good old Hoff here. Hoff's here for a reason. Let's just say that. But like you get things like this. Like this is the Pain Golem, Torture Device, Attack Inflict 1 in Heat 2, Incontinence 2, Restrain 2, or Restrain 2 times 2 attack. Alien, immune to PP damage, abnormal status, recovery from service, receive half-rounded abnormal damage, immune to lightning damage. Like, alright. But then you get things like Guardians, and you get Mimics. ZR is a fascinating game, because it really doesn't give a fuck. It does, however, fall into some of the problems when it comes to really hyper-focused games, and that being that you have to have a lot of exceptions to the rule. Hence why you get like all the undead. You cannot perform service, immune, pride points, abnormal status, recover from service. D66 uncommon spells, get a bunch of... It's like, oh. Well, that's just dandy. Yes. At least all of them are Hoft. There are a few that, like... Because you get some things like, yeah, Fenrir, alright, that's kind of neat. Like, they share, when mounted by Fenrir's mount, they share HP and base split damage with Fenrir. So yeah, you technically want to, and you want to enslave Fenrir because Fenrir is very good and does a lot of good. Does a lot of good stuff. Don't doubt that. You want Fenrir. Okay, it is confirmed. ZR came out in 2006, so this is 2 years older than Made. So it's kind of, you can argue that ZR is kind of like advanced Made. Okay, so what are my final thoughts kind of on ZR? Who doesn't want Fenrir? Yeah. The thing with ZR that you kind of have to take a step back and think about really quickly is the idea that ZR is a very particular game for a very particular people for a very particular reason. It is very Japanese, it is very lewd, it does only what it says it's going to do. If you don't like what it's saying it's want to do, you're not going to like it. However, I can't really say like it's not bad. I don't much care for it. I don't much care for it because of the fact that it is very light on some aspects and then it's like really heavier on others. It kind of like it ping pongs back and forth quite a bit. Like, for example, this is my character. Yes, I was forced by the ZR community when I joined it to double check on these things to make a character, and I did. Yeah, and I did not write down the gender, mind you. I did not write any of this down. They did. Mostly because my demon traits are... I'm kind of jacked, which is the thing. Like, the idea is that I am very much jacked. Got my HP, I got my MP, got my pride points, big ass weapon. But then I realized when I was kind of done with this, I'm just like, oh, do I want to do anything else with this? Do I want to play this character? And I said, no, I don't want to play this character because I didn't really have that much options into it. And to some people, this game is going to be fun. It kind of it is kind of like Made, and my complaints from Made roll over to this. Because it is entirely chart driven. If you don't like the charts, if you don't like the idea, you're not going to like it. But unlike Made, you can do anything you want with Made. You can't really do whatever you want with ZR. The people who like it, I can understand. Not for me. Now, the next one is the unfun one. The unfun, the very unfun one. The one that Notepad did not want to do. Welcome to FAPP. Now, who in God's name made this disaster area in a... Yeah, warning, this book is fucking gross. It is fucking gross. And you're like, wait a second, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is FAPP? Why the fuck is there a 3rd edition? Why the fuck is it called the Climax Edition? Why the fuck does this game actually look half decent layout-wise? And I will tell you, FAPP for affinity. Yep. Don't think we're going down the rabbit hole, kids. I was just typing for affinity. No, it's a FAPP RPG. Now, the odd thing with FAPP is that there is a lot of FAPP, like a weird amount of it. Now, the main thing is that there's the core book. This is the simple book what we're going to be going over. However, there's also Hyperspace, Curse Compendium, Cyberjunk, Fuck University, Yiffin Hell, Dragon Lair, Monster Balls, Endgame, Lands Meat, Hard Heroes, Ass Effect, Balls Deep in Duat, the Rotgut Campaign, Advanced FAPP, which actually the Filth Folio, Xanthrone, which is, as well as FAPP Finder. All of these are source books. All of these are fully written. There's everything that you could ever want from it. Yes, I am 18 years and older. Now, this is the FAPP RPG. This is... they make, with 101 patrons, $3,045 a book. And this thing is... What did I just see? Okay. Yeah, $3,000 for each book. God, I wish I could be making that. And overall, it's really kind of a split between $10 and $60 for these books. And do you think he's not doing anything? No. FAPP, Spunkborn Timing Pole. The Spunkborn... Yeah, no! Yokai Hentai! What? There's still books being pumped out. Don't think there isn't. This guy's making bank. Like, again, its next release, FAPP Hyperspace, June 2021. Currently planning on stick to a 6-month release schedules. Every 6 months he puts out a new book. So we're aiming to get FAPP Yokai Hentai out and in your hands by June. It's one of those things, you look at it and like your mind begins to melt slightly. And you wonder, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Like, am I the weird one? Because I don't do this? Am I like... let's see. The actual like FAPP page about 174, but this is a let's... Now mind you, I'm for those who don't know right now, I'm literally looking at the wiki right now just because I want to make sure that there's nothing absurdly wrong with this. Doesn't look like there's anything like wrong with it. But there's a lot of options. Like there's a lot of games and there's a lot of parts to this game, which fascinates me. And can I find anything about FAPP anywhere? No. All I know is by this guy named Ka. So, like, let me just corrupt my fucking... Like, the only one... let's see, he's on Twitter, actually. Good start on Twitter. Like... No, I'm not clicking on that. Nope, not clicking on that. Like, he's been working on stuff, and get like he's still pumping out stuff, unfortunately, but not as much. I'm not seeing too much from him. No, we're not looking at that now. Okay, we're done. See, you have a store. There's a store, everyone. Oh no! Oh no! Fenris Publishing is doing that. Who the fuck is Fenris Publishing? Are they a furry publisher? Yeah, it's furry. It's furries. It's always It's always furries. Why are the furries so big furries destroying our? What, the Triton gaming system? What the fuck is? What the fuck? Triton gaming system. I've never heard of this before, and I am now immensely fascinated. What is this? This is why I look at these things. This is why I hunt. Because I get more surprised every day. But that's really all that I can really find on FAPP. And there are so many suspiciously rich furries out there. Yes. And I remember I actually talked to a few. Because for those who don't know, Notepad here actually worked at a furry convention. Hey, money's money. It's odd, because the most I realized when I was talking to a lot of these people was that they weren't like, when you think like, what do these guys do for a living? What are you guys like? Like, what do you actually do? I met fucking like software engineers, mechanics. They're all these like really detailed jobs that kind of gave me a little bit of an idea. I'm like, wait a second. The guys who are suspiciously wealthy are the guys who don't really have a family. They work their asses off 24/7, and this is just the thing they do. And I'm like, okay, that's actually kind of, if you put it in that, it does frighten me a lot, because the suspiciously rich furries are usually the ones funding everything, and there's a very small amount of them compared to the rest of them. But as the one video I watched, if I can't insult the furries, because if they can afford a $2,000 fursuit, they can afford a $10 pipe bomb in my mailbox. So, not dealing with that. Furries free. I don't get furries, never have. But FAPP is kind of a legendary game, because this is the one that made me die a little on the inside, and you notice quite a few hoffs around. This will be a reoccurring theme with this book. But you actually have to see like quite a few different people are all working with it, and all of them are fur affinity people. Every single one of them. Don't doubt that. This is a furry game. So they're actually like good at budgeting and stuff? No. I never said anything about good budgeting. They just make a fuck ton of money. These are the kind of guys who work, 90 hours a week, and they go home. They wake up in the morning, they get ready, they go to work, they work till night, they come home, go to sleep, do that day in, day out. They don't have a wife and kids. They don't have they don't have like a lot of family or anything like that. So what you do is, what do you spend it on? You spend it on shit. It's the same kind of people who invest a shit ton of money into like model train sets, or people who it's like any of those kind of like really hobbies that people just invest a lot of time and effort into. That's what they want to do. It's like, there's nothing wrong. Beware books. Who are Beware books? Never heard of these guys. Let's go on an adventure. Is that their company? No. Just one from any flip. Do you have a website? Like, do you have actually beware.us legal? It's Fenris Publishing. Okay. It's not Beware, it's Fenris. Okay, that's fine. Info? What? Yeah, alright. That's pretty standard. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know really what else would be. Ah, yes, this reminds me. Everyone, I would like everyone to remember that Distara here was the individual who actually encouraged me to do this. So everything you see here is Distara's fault. Remember that. Yeah, it's this is like extensively. This is not a simple game. Now, mind you, the first edition of this game is called FAPP Classic. You can say that as much as you want. Then you have Advanced FLAP and then FAPP Climax. The first to be printed in a physical format. This is a printed book. You can buy this book and put it on your shelf. Current Incarnation, it's a fun way to explore wild and chaotic. It's very much an erotic adventure. Trust me, it fucking is, and I'm not happy with it. It can be played in person at your gaming table over the net using messaging clients. They're very direct here. Fairly standard stuff. You gotta prepare everything. Here's your player preferences, because this is an important part, actually. Because there's a lot of weird shit in this game. Like, a lot of weird shit. And it actually does encourage you to use maps. Because we cannot escape fucking 4E. Because, again, we can't escape 4E, because this also kind of derives influence from 4th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Because don't think that it doesn't, because guess what? There is no god. Then we have encounters, playing the game, and rewards. Now, this is the example set of characters here that we're supposed to believe are our characters that we're supposed to vibe with, that we're supposed to understand that are us. Yes, it's us. Look at us. We're right there. Let me just put tiny baby Doge right there. I'll put myself right there. There we go. We're playing FAPP. Look, kids, it's fun for the whole family. And it's this is Iron Claw. This is not. I'd bring it. Yeah, these are your characters. Yeah, welcome to fucking Marty Mouse here. I mean, I think that's a lizard in a cowboy hat. There's technically a person right here on top. I think it's on top of this person. But these are all very much furry personas, not furries, not like anthropomorphic characters. Now, we will come back to this. This is because we need to understand who these characters are first. We have to understand who Percival and Monica is, even though she has literally the MILF power. But don't worry, mommy milkers will come later. Don't doubt that. I recognize that part. Oh yeah, don't doubt that. It's so. Actually, one thing I have to bring out, just to make sure that, okay, yeah. Here's Chippy. Chippy's my friend. He's a Dutchman, whose grandfather possibly killed a monkey on a boat. I made a character for him because I thought that he would be the most appropriate anthropomorphic toad to bring out in this game. So yes, we'll be using him as an example for a few things, just to explain some of the mechanics in here. Now, one thing is, all characters start at level 20. You may be wondering what the level 20, that sounds really high, but the idea is level 20 indicates how many of these you're actually getting. So technically at level 20 means I have 10 health, because I spent 10 of my levels getting 10 stamina. And then all of these abilities cost levels to increase. The fact that I have these two abilities, these two features, is because I invested in them. The leveling system is... Yes. Because you can technically call level 20 level 0, because it just amounts the amount of stuff that you have. And I trust me, at first, I thought I was having a stroke. When Katari, don't worry. When I first read it, I thought I was like... I actually saw it at first, I was like, what the fuck? And then I kind of took a step back, I'm like, okay, I kind of understand it. You can almost call it, power level more than anything else, because there's actually not much here. Because if we look at here, I want you to point to me. Look at it, look, kids. Point to me your strength score. You don't have one. Okay, point to me your agility. Don't have one. Point to me your anything. Don't have one. One of the things is this game is all about these, your abilities and your assets. This is all it's about. You have no other abilities. You have 174 pages of not dealing with anything with that. Now, the one big thing is that it is a D6 system. All checks, every single check you make is going to be an opposed check most of the time. Now, because the thing is this, for example, I'm going to wrestle you. I want to wrestle you to the ground in a non-erotic fashion. I'm going to take my D6 and I'm going to roll. I rolled a 6 because I'm cool. You take your D6 and roll. You rolled a 5. I succeed. We've had a contest and I succeed. But let's say, for example, you're bigger than me. You're huge. You're fucking massive. You're a giant, horrifying abomination of God. I'm trying to wrestle you down. You might say, okay, you know what? I'm going to get 2 dice advantage on it. I rolled a 6 still. Want to do something, but you don't have the ability? You can. Oh, you can. Do whatever the fuck you want. But you're not going to get those bonuses. Because that's what you're really fighting for. Those bonus dice. Because, for example, let's say, again, that wrestling example, I rolled a 6. I only have 1d6, but you're bigger than me, stronger than me. You're going to roll 3d6. And you roll double sixes and a 1. You roll 13. You beat me. There's no way I'm going to beat you with that, because you're rolling more dice than me. Now, here's the weird thing. Now, I want to preface this. Notepad is prefacing something. I do not like FAPP. But. I'm not opposed to the system. I'm not actually opposed to that really lightweight D6 system where you're more like trying to find your dice and like trying to get all the little bonuses to stack up with each other. That's fine with me. I think that's kind of cool. I think, when I read through it, I kind of like, oh, that's kind of an interesting idea. Okay, no. We preface this. Notepad does not like FAPP. However, he does like this particular dice system. Now, advancement, no. Hoff can't save us from everything, mind you. Gain enough experience. Hoff can't save us from everything. Here's our character sheet. Now, all our traits and stuff, I kind of gone over them, but the idea is your species means nothing, except when it does. Your background means nothing, except when it does. Your features do mean things. Your flaws sort of mean things. Boons sort of mean things. Afflictions really do mean things. Because the thing is, your kinks are pretty much the way that you're going to be able to generate FAPP dice. What are FAPP dice, you may ask? Notepad, what the fuck is FAPP dice? Now, here's the funny thing. This is a separate kink from these two. I don't really need to. Having the fact that women are around is just a bonus to these. Now, One thing about FAPP dice is the more you kind of succumb to your kinks, the more things occur that kind of boost you up. You're getting these dice that are off to the side, pretty much. Getting a little bit of dice. So let's say you have 3 FAPP dice. I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a roll. I rolled a 1. Oh no, I'm going to take 2 of my FAPP dice and roll those 2. You know, I rolled a 5. I rolled a 5 and a 4, and I got 10 out from my single 1 dice. FAPP dice are your meta currency, but FAPP dice also incur very valuable things when it comes to this. Because if you have FAPP dice and you get reduced to 0 stamina, what happens is you take fatigue damage equal to your FAPP dice plus 1. So if you have 5 FAPP dice, you take 1, you're at 6. If this fatigue ever reaches more than your stamina, you're out. That asset list is cursed. Yes. Now, mind you, what it is by default, if I remember correctly, this is what it is by default. You do not technically need anything else. So, but to give Chippy the proper amount, I gave him all of this. Tail, however, was a mutation, which is another weird aspect. But you can choose your size, but size is also kind of important in its own ways, because you can move squares occupied by same-sized allies without penalty. Because there's this in-depth movement mechanics. If I'm moving through, if it's me, you, and an open space, I can move through you just fine. Oh, if I stop on your space, I'm getting knocked down. If you're smaller than me, I'm knocking you down. But if I'm a larger creature moving through you, I can knock you down. You know, same size ending movement that knocks both of you prone. It's like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? One size smaller than cells while prone. Yeah, it's how many FAPP dice you can cure. Maximum SP is equal to stamina minus fatigue. You know, fatigue. Like, the spin down on this game. Like, the spin down, the actual, like, death spiral is insane. You take, like, one bad hit, you are dead. You are fucked. Your health goes from 10 to fucking 2. That's your max health now. You have 2 max health. And you get hit again, you're fucked. Like, you can go really quickly down the rabbit hole of and go down to die. Like, it's very bad. But yes, one of the big things about the lore of FAPP is that the fappening occurred. Yes, first exposed to the fappening. That's it. And you have to literally roll a random mutation. So, let's roll a mutation, shall we? Oh wow, look, this rare transformation. Roll the 6. Let's roll 2d6. Let's roll 2. Oh, I got a 55. I wonder what 55 is. Oh, let's go. Oh boy, you gained the swarm feature. Lose 1 stamina. I don't want the swarm feature. I'm literally But yeah, no, everything is based off of this. And it's all about combat. Everything is about combat. And most everything is going to be a d6 check in some capacity. Most average check is just rolling 1d6. That is literally all you roll unless you have bonuses. If you don't have bonuses, sorry, you're fucked. Like, that is a important part. Also, not dead, you come and die. No. Coming is just climax. That's its own completely different thing. You want to power game your cooming is that you try to burn all your FAPP dice before you know you're going to go down. Because there's a lot of guaranteed damage in this game. Now, your background's exactly what you think it is. If it comes, hey, your background's coming in. Guess what? You add another d6. That's it. Congratulations. Ha ha ha. Now, your assets, this is another one of those things like, cool idea, problem. The idea of your assets is that you can kind of choose whatever you want. However, you need an asset to do an ability. For example, if you do not have, well, a cock, you can't use any of these abilities very well unless you have one of these. If you don't have feet, you are literally unable to move properly. Because guess what? They're feet. You need those. Or it's like, if you don't have hands, if you don't have a gut, you can't use these abilities because you just aren't very big. Or you can technically, by sheer technicality, start with no head in this game. That's fine. If you don't want a head, go for it. Fuck it. Who cares? Or you get things like, oh, tails, or... Now, one thing about this, now, Google what a muff is. Come on, you're adults here. For some reason, they use this term for that, but also just use term cock here. Why? I do not know. I can genuinely tell you I do not know. Hello, that. Now, you can also... Now, mods are both good and bad, because mods are normally temporary and moved when you rest. But if you are defeated while you have a temporary mod, it becomes permanent. So you kind of also want to lose in some cases to get a good aspect. But you can choose anyone you want. If your mod applies an acid and multiple choices, the source of the mod applies how acid it applies to. Effects apply as long as the mod is applied. You can apply any of these to anything. That's fine. It's great. Some are better than others, because you can just say, hey, it's not. It's not. Look at the no. It's not a hand warmer. Yeah. Muff are both. Yeah. Or technically, you could apply a mod to anything you want. There's no restriction. I'm gonna see you can put down what your mod is. Want to be sandy cheeks, everybody? I'll let you debate that. Now, you look at these, you're like, wait a second. Since you can apply these to anything, it doesn't really matter. Including edible. Yeah, you want to eat your hands? Oh, no. Oh, no. And there's quite a few of these. Don't doubt that there are a few of these. Because there's some of them that are like mechanical. Some of them are not. Teeny. Fine. It's cool. It's tiny. You look at it, you're like, what the fuck? Each skill, each ability you can link in order to learn an ability, you must first learn a skill along the one level to learn an ability. You're like, oh, okay, nature, all right, nursing. Your dick can be a ghost. Yes, you can. You can, in fact, become Robocock. Now, mind you, these are all your abilities. Do you like the Boar ability? I knew you would. Do you like the curses one next to domination, next to ah. But yeah, these are all skills. And mind you, these also count as your skills. The fact that you have these mean that you can do things. And there's a lot of abilities. Don't think there isn't. These are your basic abilities that you can always do. But all of these are something different. And there's a lot. Don't doubt, most of them are not available. Mostly it's things like this. And these are skill challenges. Conceal small object inside your flesh. Merge with a door, then unmerge on the other side of it. Now, merge is a contest a target of size smaller with merge with them. At the end of your turn, your merger with them. Add a die if you're grappling or trapping them. Pass through, permeate, sequester. Contest target at the end of your turn, trap them instead. Subsume. Integrate target with an item they're equipped with. Oh boy! Oh boy! The bondage skill. Shibari. Using a rope and add a die if they have tendrils. If critical, you may bind them using their own tendrils, equipping a rope to them. Because yes, you have to. Because your items are equipped to locations. If you don't have an item, if you have an item, you can equip it to something to tie them up or do something like that. Lock up. When you equip an item, equip a lock on it as well. You're not moving. That's not moving. Bottoming. There's a lot here. You could technically rip someone's dick off because how combat works is, for example, I want to use let's just say, for example, I want to use my cock against your gut, or I want to use my cock against your ass. That is what you do for combat. That is how you do it. You use an asset against an asset, or you use one of these, such as Rough Rider. Use your ass or muff to attack a target's cock. Move them any square of your choice adjacent to them. Adjacent to you. Breeding. Open season. Or my favorite. You're all understanding why I gagged at this one. Is there something playing in the background? Yeah, I have some background music in the background. Yeah, contest a target to... Yes! Why is that a ranged action? Because God is dead, Mr. Y. Because God is dead. And... I'm good, I'm not that good. You get things like Carnage, Pain-Craft to intimidate, wicked tools of Pain-Craft, brutal effective surgery to remove parasites. Crush, attack a target, knock them prone if you're critical, add a die if you're swole. Disembowel, attack a target and free anyone trapped by them, add a die if they're fat. Lash, massacre, when you defeat an adjacent character, gain soak and vigor. Charm, I'm like, okay, charm's pretty simple, but like, even Chippy here, I had to use charm as one because Chippy's a charming Dutchman. If attack, charm, seduce, charm, like, or cock slap. Oh yeah, no, don't worry. Cold, because there's some which this like makes perfect sense. This is FAPP. Because there's moments in this game that make me sit down and think, that could actually be cool. Like, hey, you're choosing your abilities kind of right away. You're making all these options. You're like, okay, cool. I'm having fun. There's stuff going on. And you're like, oh, cold. I'm like, corruption. Blasphemy. When a divine target uses an action, cause them to attack themselves afterward. Chaos Bolt. Test the target to inflict distract, hungry, shame, spurty, stun, vigor. Oh no! Oh no! And there's a lot for some of these. There's a lot of abilities for some. Others not as much. But there's so much shit. It's just like, no, please. Like, oh god. Finesse. Like, finesse is like, I got rid of, like, okay, I don't really need to. But it's like, this is how fast you go. But, like, this is the fucking character. Yes, he does have a gun. Do not question why he has a fucking handgun. Don't question it. Growth. When you would gain fatter gut, gain swole. You already will increase your size by 1. Bloat maxer. Become a bloat maxer. Did I miss anything? No, you just missed me losing my fucking mind, Mr. Y. For context, the entire game is a D6 game. The entire game is a D6 game based on pretty much rolling a D6 versus another person's D6. The goal is to get more dice. The entire idea about FAPP is that it is extensively, almost abusingly, a furry game with all the regular shit that goes along with it. And it's a fairly standard game outside of that. But the idea is that you are building your character up. For example, I use my boy Chippy here. And you're getting all these different abilities, different things to become, well, to achieve drip. Or, in this case, drip in a different way. Oh no. Oh no. But FAPP is an odd duck because there are some ideas, you look at it and it's like, why is this here? Why is digital? Why is hacking even a thing? And then you realize, heat. Oh no. It's literally heat, not heat. Haha, this is fine. Oh, it's hypnosis. Bimbofication. Test the target to make them a bimbo. Inception. Test sleeping target, grant them a kink of your choice. For each critical you roll, add an additional kink of your choice, or addiction, envy, gluttony, greed, lust, never-ending, nudist, pride, or wrath. Doctrinate. For each critical you copy another kink. Because you want kinks. That's the idea. You want these so you can get FAPP dice so you can have better luck. Because you want more dice to roll and to beat the shit out of people. Oh no, ha ha ha! Like, there's, like, nursing, like, the entirety of this. I was like, no. Like, there are a lot of these, mind you, and it's hard to kind of, like, go over the fact that, like, how much, like, what? Oh, man. Oh, what? What? No. Ew. What the fuck do I do with my life? What am I doing with my life? Why am I here? Have you ever wondered that? Like, have you ever sat back? Therapy. You know, things like shock and shrinking, submission. Yeah, submission is an entire thing. Tanterism. Guess what tanterism is? It's literally saying, nah. Restraint and denial. You say, nah. I don't want it. Cease. Yeah. Enlightenment. Contest the target to remove bimbo or monster from them. Empathy. When the target takes damage, divert half of it to you instead. Shining finger. Distract them. If they are a demon or undead, blind them. Skadoosh. Attack a target, add a die if you use your gut. You can reduce the attack by any amount to a minimum of 0 to push the target that many squares. Yes, you can technically yeet someone by throwing them. The fact that topping is an ability, and not only like an ability, but like a decent one, which is all about You ever wonder what God looks like? Yeah, there are an absurd amount of these, mind you. Vor is a fucking ability. Vor is not only an ability, it is an important ability. Attack all occupants. Gurgle. Culpitis. Like that's Chippy's problem. Like Chippy's biggest problem, unfortunately, is that he's smaller than most. He's smaller than the standard. Standard size is 1. I'm like, I'm gonna make Chippy small. Chippy's like at risk mostly of getting bored, and I want Chippy to remember that. I made sure to tell him. Yes. Wrestling, like wrestling, like, and then you have all of, yeah, you have all of these abilities which all do things, mind you. You know, it's like, oh, like fertile. You get things like fertile, but it's like, oh, hey, attacks roll an extra die against you. This is removed when you climax. Hidden, you can hide. You can be hungry. 1 die damage yourself at the end of the turn. Oh no! Use an oral vor action. Oh no! Stuck. Spurty. Sleep. Shame. This is the effect on me constantly. It's called shame. Yeah, no, it's like the actual like production value on this fucking game is decent. I will give them that. Do I like any of it? Absolutely not. And here's all the features. A permanent feature is level 1 level, and there are quite a few that are actually like why. Because yes, you can by technicality select you have an overwhelming celestial presence that imbues you with holy power. Yeah, you want to become a divine entity? Yeah. Just become a MILF. Alright. Become a DILF. Fatherly demeanor of an older gentleman. You add a down contest a youthful character. Removed by youthful. What about MILF? Add a die when you... See, the thing is, by sheer technicality, you can also be a MILF and a DILF. A MIDLF. Yes. Yes, it is. Technically, if I wanted to make Chippy better, I'd give him Naga, but I didn't think that would be appropriate for him. Yeah, automotive. You have an internal engine and wheels. You want to become a transformer in this game? You can do it. Where was the one that I? Yeah, you can also become a jelly man. You can become a slime. That is entirely. Yeah, suit. You are a living suit that can house others with you. Characters can use possession take over on you without needing to know those abilities. And you can comfortably trap a single character up to your own size without becoming stuck. You can pose a countless smaller creature. You cannot be bound by rope or chains. You can pass through enemy squares of any size, so you have a small gap enough for components to fit through. Swole. You get vigor when you... Oh boy. Flaws. Flaws actually don't do anything. You don't get anything for adding flaws. However, you kind of want to take flaws as well. Because if you add in some flaws, sometimes some of these flaws are actually kind of odd. In some of the, some of them are actually like weirdly decent in some cases. As Chippy here, I chose Soaked in Lust because obviously because you can also turn these in your own favor. Like that's like in a point that they want you to do. Like that's like a noted. And 10 wheels alien, yeah. Boons. You can't get boons right away. Characters can only possess a single boon, range of power and complexity. Boons are odd because they are given to you. You don't buy boons. However, there are some boons like God. Become God. Jinhood. Yeah, become a Jinhood. Become an idiot savant. Like... I never understood lycanthrope for furries. Like, you just become, like, scarier? Is that it? afflictions. Oh no, they're like diseases. Equipment. Equipment's exactly what you fucking think it is. It's... Oh boy. Wow. Armor. Oh, anal beads. Oh, gag. Blindfold. Yeah, there's a blindfold that just makes you blind. There's no benefit to having it. Or you get things like boots. Like, oh, feet do not roll dice on a critical. Oh, alright, allows you to ignore difficult terrain. Like, oh, alright. Boxers. Allow you to block abilities. You can't use it, but you can make sure others can't use it. Alright. Don't you think for a fucking moment that you can get away with this. Don't think about it. Oh, no. Don't you think you can get away from these things. Never think you can. Because it's always there. It's always looking at you, knowing that you are going to die. Yeah, there's quite a few items, and they're not fun items. They're like, oh boy. Oh, it's like, oh boy, late. This is technically like the only two major weapons in actually the game, which allows you to use other abilities from other things. Most of them not even worth using. It is legitimately not worth using, most of them. Because it just use your abilities. Why would you ever use that? Yeah, broad blocks tits. Yeah. Then we have our artifacts. Concerto choker. The dill double. Don't think you can get rid of that. Headband of the empathetic masturbation. His suit harness. Friend rope. Matron bell. Don't think you can get away with that. If you gain tits, if you have fat or swole, stacked belly, if you have gut, or stack if you have sack. You regain any of these traits you're missing at the beginning of your turn each round. Capable of bearing milk. Glory shield. The shield when you use glutton for punishment to intercept a cock attack or contest. Attack it with the shield afterwards. Supple hole in the center. Perfect for catching incoming dongs. When God gave us thought, when God came down and touched Adam's finger and said, you are, the foundation of mankind. This is what he intended right here. Why are people the way they are? I wonder every day. But yeah, this is FAPP. And there's more. Don't think there isn't more. Oh, no, there's more. There's a lot more. There's a stupid amount. We have all our sample characters. This is Monka the matron. She's a goat. I thought she was a milk. A cow, I mean. Actually, can I... Okay, let me... Okay, no. Okay, maybe if I, like, put it, like, right... Oh, okay, put it, like, right there. Yeah, that's Percival. And his sword. Do you like Percival and his sword? Yeah, no, he does. He do. Zan's got Marcel the twink, like Marcel. There's dongs everywhere. We got all the gods of because there's the setting of Jizarel. They got all the enemies. And yeah, no, all the enemies just like horrifying abominations of God. It makes me just die a little on the inside even looking at Because the thing is, you have to do this for all of the enemies. Now, you may be wondering, Notepad, you're lying, right? No. It's kobolds. Okay. Following the rubble down the hole, a pair of brown-furred critters half your height tumble down, bouncing upon their tremendous hairy ball sacks. One points at the two of you menacingly as the others run his tongues between two fingers in a crude gesture to suggest his intentions. It's Kobolds! Hell yeah, let's show him a good time. Alright, let's roll initiative. Roll 3d6. Dang, I'm not that great. I rolled a total of 6. Critical, so I had another die, which is a 2. I had a total of 16. Alright, Percival, you're first. You're about the 3 squares away from the little buggers. Alright, I'm going to move and then flex. Yeah, flex. My armor gives me extra die for physique contests. Now let's fixate them on me. Gotta protect the good lady Monka. Alright, let's roll down. Okay, so you imagine those cute little buggers waving that huge thing around. Haha, that sounds dangerous. Now, this is how attack works. The other one reaches forward for Percival's cock and grinds his own cock against it. That's an attack that deals 5 damage. There is no contest with these attacks. You just do the damage. Youch. Okay, I'm down to 6 SP. The first Kobold uses a reaction to activate pack tactics to get an attack too. He does the same thing, another 4 damage. Because if you want to attack something, you roll D6. Oh no, you have an advantage. 2d6. That is how you roll. That is how you deal damage. There's no resistance checks. And trust me, you do all of that. And every single one of them makes me die a little on the inside. That is actually, again, it's... I was fascinated when I kind of realized that the game is entirely, a lot of it's derivative based on that D6. Now, how Degeneracy say how the game's mechanics. From a completely, now mind you, this is from a completely eagle eye view with nothing. If you were to apply paint thinner over the entire game, you know, it's just a bundle of numbers, bundle of mechanics with vague understanding. The game systems are not bad. At its core, it's a D6 game. It's very simple. Don't get me wrong, game's simple, but could actually be fairly interesting, relatively speaking. You know, there is actually something to be said. There is something to be said about the game mechanically. The fact that everything is just a basic D6 contested roll, it's really easy to teach to people. The fact that you can kind of pick and choose your abilities, and the abilities are usually pretty simple, cool. The fact that you don't really attack necessarily by virtue of like me hit you, but more it's like, oh, well, I want to use my arms to punch your head. But like, I'm going to use my arms to hit your head, or it's like, oh, I'm going to use my legs to kick you in the chest. Things like that, cool, it's guaranteed damage. You roll your dice, cool, I do 5 damage, whatever. The fact that the spin down is really aggressive, because the entire idea is that once your stamina hits 0, you climax. And you take some fatigue damage, then you start over again. It also kind of plays into the fact that they have the FAPP dice, which are kind of like a very valuable meta currency. You want these things, but you also want to expend them quickly, because if you have any left over, you're taking more damage. That's an interesting dynamic. But, B-U-T. Does this game have merit as itself? No. Well, let me take that back. If you like this game, I'm not going to fault you for it. You know, Zon, Destara, if you like this game, I can't fault you for it. It's not my taste. Can you get past the horrifying amounts of furry degeneracy? I cannot. On its face, it's impossible to get past it. Every single part of that game is built around that concept. It's based around the concept of me using fucking hypercock to beat someone to death with it. It's vaguely fun. It has to be stripped of the horny, though, Destara says. That comes with an issue. Yeah, that comes with the issue. Now, I want you all to think of this real fast. I want you to close your eyes and what we just went over. Stripping away everything, what are you left with? Arguably, you're not left with much. The system, as it stands, as what is presented, as what was presented in itself, needs that. Or else, there is nothing there. It is a D6 system, and it's boring, relatively speaking. It's pretty dull. Yeah, and like you can see the skill system being interesting, but if you remove all the abilities that are vaguely horny or vaguely anything, you are left with about 5. You are left with about 5 skills that can be functional. And maybe there's more in the expansion books that aren't, but Sand of the Field of replacing the things, though, that's the boo stance to have. I kind of touched on this earlier. Kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. But the idea of refluffing is an important aspect of tabletop RPGs. That is a fundamental advantage we out here in the tabletop RPG sphere have over others. When I'm watching a movie, I can't pause the movie real fast being like, no, we're changing that. I can't, open the book and like rewrite it halfway through. That's not how that works outside of like fan fiction. I can't listen to music and then change the tone of it halfway. That's just not something I could do. Tabletop RPGs. Tabletop RPGs have the unique advantage of changing things on the go and making it good. I am Cryot. I'm Cryot, cryomancer extraordinaire, and I'm going to shoot my flame. And then it's like, I'm going to shoot my fireball. No. Cryo the cryomancer is not going to shoot his fucking fireball. And if he looked at me being like, do I have to shoot a fireball? Being like, no, you're shooting a giant ice ball because you're a fucking cryomancer and that's your game. Cool, fine, that's how it works. You can change that. That's fine. That's just perfectly understandable. Some games, however, find it a lot more difficult. But my stance is change it to the point where it still maintains its identity. Changing fireball to ice ball, nothing really changes in the game, really. Like, I'm shooting a giant ball of, frozen ice at somebody. I'm barreling through it. Like, okay, that's kind of a cool idea. Maybe we can work with that. That's fine. I'm trying to think of like another game. In Eoducius Lux, I am, I have a giant two-handed sword, and I want to, I'm doing crazy stuff with it. Cool. That's you can refluff it to be whatever you want. Fluffing is important. Changing things as necessary to keep the same idea. It's functional. It's good. No, the startup. Just no. Things like FAPP, things like Zettai Reidos, things like Maiesta are difficult to avoid. I'm not Latin. The entire game was based originally on a porn game. We don't talk about that. But there comes a point where you can refluff it all you want, but you can't really escape the core identity. That's why I have such a disapproving look at people who are like, it's 5e, but it's a World War II game, or it's 5e, but it's World War I. I have such a disapproving look at it because you can refluff it all you want, but at the end of the day, the game is so radically changed that's not really the core intention anymore. Can you refluff FAPP? Yes. Can you refluff FAPP drastically? I don't think so. I honestly do not think. I do not think you can. Because the more you edit it, the more you change it, the more you start losing what it is. And at that point, you lose the purpose. The purpose. You lose the purpose of the game. And if you've lost the purpose of the game, well, why are you playing it? And it's if I don't like this music, why are you still listening? Otter hates watermelon, continues to eat watermelon. That's what's occurring. You can say it's not a watermelon all you want, but it's still going to be a watermelon. So that's kind of like my stance. Like, should you play any of these games? I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say yes. I'm going to say if that's your jam, that's your jam. Maiesta probably has the weakest mechanics. Just from sheer technicality, I think Maiesta has the weakest mechanics due to the fact that it's entirely D2 driven and its ideas are... It's trying to do different things that don't gel well with one another. It's trying to be like this tactical combat game, but the dice don't really allow it to do that very well, and there's like options kind of everywhere, and usually if you're going for that kind of idea, I would expect more adventure mechanics. I would expect more non-combat mechanics for a game like that. And that's what I would want, is more non-combat stuff, more role-playing aspects, more things like that. But ZR is... I mix on it. Half of me likes it more because it's better made. It's advanced made. Has actually some more stuff going on with it. There's more ideas with it. It's a little bit more meat. The problem is I don't much care for that meat. It's kind of clunky in some aspects, and this might be the translation. It might be just the fact that it's entirely fucking derived from like a weird machine translation that doesn't quite get what I want from it. And then FAPP probably has the strongest mechanical basis, but it's 3 editions in. It has, I assume, to be a fuck ton of playtesters. It's one of those things where I would be surprised if it was bad. And it doesn't have the ability to not be what it is. Maiesta, you can play that game straight, and nothing really changes. Here's the thing with like the refluffing even. When it comes to like size or capacity and things like that. Like, yeah, you can do that. You can keep with that. But you can still... You can run an entire Maiesta campaign, and probably not even bring up the fact that they're like obsessively like hyperpreg at all. Like the key fetish is not really that pronounced. You don't really need to mention it if you don't want to. ZR, it's so open, and I've seen people say like, oh, well, we just run, safe for work ZR. Can I see safe for work ZR working? Maybe, but it would be like hardcore like GM work there in that regard. But I can understand it. FAPP, you can't really escape it. FAPP is completely committed to its design, and its design is furry porn. If you do not like furry porn, you are not going to like FAPP. That's like the core thing I can say there. Don't like it, you can't really escape it. Will there ever be generic FAPP? I don't think so, because generic FAPP is a bad game. If you just take out all the horny aspects, there isn't actually much to go off of. And in a game like that, you'd want a little bit more. But the fact of like what it is makes it decent. It's kind of an odd situation. But those are my kind of final thoughts in that regard. Now we get to do the unfun part. Let's go on a magic adventure. As always, I like to go through Kickstarter for 2 reasons. One, Kickstarter is a fundamentally important part of the tabletop gaming industry, and it pretty much makes it so that we as a community, we as designers can kind of see what's important, what's not, what's getting funded, and what isn't getting funded. I find that very important to go over. But yeah, you won't see many ERP games. And now, one thing I should also mention is that there are actually other games that are ERP related. For example, Exalted Scrolls Swallow Darkness. Parody source book were released for April Fool's Day. People have actually expanded on them. Actually, kind of done it. And I've actually read through Swallow Darkness. It's actually kind of funny in some cases. It's like, you're looking like, this is kind of amusing. And then you get things like Black Tokyo, which was way back in the day. Like this is an oldie. Let me see. Can I actually even open this up? Yeah, Black Tokyo was an OGL D20 game, and it was written by Chris Field. That name sounds familiar. He actually wrote the furry guide to Pathfinder Persona, and there are a lot of the Black Tokyo it's a hentai game, but it's not actually that good. Like it's D20 OGL. There are a few of these games out there. If you look around, you can find them. I won't say you should though. Yeah, like that's an important thing to understand. I'm not saying you should go look for them, because usually they're not very good. So, let's just go to a quick. I did look through Kickstarter the other day. I just wanted to make sure, like, oh wait a second, I don't want to just do games. I want to do tabletop games, because I'm like, oh, this is kind of important for me to look over. And I saw one that was actually very interesting to me. Those in my server kind of understand like what I was talking about. Fuck. Let's see. Follow Streets of Newark. Wow. Someone is going to get sued for this. Holy shit. Someone is going to get fucking sued for this so fast. Now, you may be wondering, Notepad, what do you mean someone's going to... This game is coming out. No, this show is coming out. This is the Many Saints of Newark. This is a Soprano story. Actually, this is about Tony Soprano and his youth. Done by his kid, actually, the main guy from Soprano's kid. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they definitely knew what they were doing. It looks like it's a board game. Yeah, board games are board games. Bark magic. Yeah, we don't talk about bark magic. Save Afghanistan. Oh no. Oh. Two solid save Afghanistan comrades save South Vietnam. Cold War conflicts from Soviet-U.S. perspective. Oh no. Oh no. Decisive regime. Okay, it looks like it's just a token game. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh goodness. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Edible gummy minis? Why would you ever buy minis that were edible? That's really silly. But why? But why? Let's see. Cooperative Dungeon Crawl, Deck of Heroes and Fiends, Trick or Treat. Again, RPG? Wait a second. Again, RPG. Why does this sound vaguely familiar? Stuart, have you made another game? No, you haven't. Wait a second, no, that's just back. Created. When did you create? The Gaslight Club. Oh. No. Now, what I actually thought this looked like, I'm like, oh, it's an expansion to Anon RPG. This is Anon, which is kind of the same look to it. Okay, like that kind of threw me for a loop. Let's see. Ancient Greece, that never existed. D10's D8's 8 plus success. D10's gonna later resolve. Alright, I mean, looks like this it looks like it's a fairly simple D10 system. I mean, I'm in. That seems interesting. I'll keep my eyes on this one. I love your shiny. We all love Ivy. See, now I'm curious. Are they molds? Like, I'm assuming they're molds. Yeah, they're molds. Like, okay. I mean, that's kind of cute in its own way. I mean, yeah, that's kind of cute in its own way, I guess. I mean, see, I wonder if they would be durable enough to do other things with them. Like, you don't have to just make gummies out of them. Like, you can make other parts of other bits from them. I think that would be. I think that if it was said like you can do other bits other than just gummies, then I would say like, yeah, this is really good value. But like, yeah, all right. Yeah, I could see that. Like, if you could do more with it than just make gummies, I could see it being like a really popular thing. But it looks like it just is gummies. Let's see, vampire card game. Oh, that's not a good. That's never a good sign. Second launch, that's never a good sign. Dog friendly pub. The pet the most dogs. God. Red Dragon Inn. Echo Punk. 44. Where was the one that I saw the other day? I was pleasantly surprised and kind of saddened at the same time. Custom chess sets, war game, crumbs, foul waterfall expansion, minis. Ah, here we go. Survival of the Able. Not a long time ago, we actually did a look at Kickstarter games. And this was one of the ones I talked about as one of the 4 horsemen, actually, of games that die before they begin, kind of thing. Survival of the Able is back. They said they were going to do it last year, then it was nothing. But I saw it, I was like, oh, this is actually kind of interesting. It looks like they shifted mechanics, though. Because originally it was a Fate game. And, if we do the setting, blah, 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 game for everyone. Like, this doesn't look like Fate to me. Like, this looks like something a little bit different. Like, I can't put my finger on what it is. Creating, gaining empathy for those disabilities every day. Character who doesn't fit traditional RPG mold. Able-bodied heroes and heroines. Survival feature black and white artwork. Rules to live by. Let's see. Mixture of rules from both Fudge and Fate. Okay, I mean, I guess it's Fudge and Fate. It looks like they probably changed some things with it, though. Yeah, it looks like they changed things up a little bit. So, I mean, I'm interested in that one. Like, very much so. Because sounds ableist, this game, not gonna lie. It is done by a guy who, that's his entire thing. He makes accessible games. And he himself is wheelchair bound, I believe. I've gone over him before. The guy's really cool. I actually really respect his work. I really respect for the stuff he does. It's not ableist. He's quite literally the guy that you would normally, what you would think. The way he's kind of going about it, though, is he has a very unique approach. I like the idea behind it. Will it succeed? I don't know. I honestly can say I have no idea. I don't think it will, because I think the first one failed because I don't think anyone quite understood it. I think people got a little bit afraid of it. I think people looked at it and they said, scary people who are, differently abled. I don't like it. I think a lot of people have, I think with a better look on things, he's got a little bit better of an artist on it. He's actually got like a publishing firm kind of helping him out with it. I think it will do good. I hope, but I think people are still going to be turned away by the idea. So, fun to weekend, slaughter parties, zine length. Yeah, it's 36 players, you'll spend time hiding from the slasher. No mechanics. This is making the rounds. Like, people are like, oh, wow, you want 1,600 fucking bucks for it. Jesus. Let's see. What was the other one that I saw that was like, oh, this is kind of interesting? Oh, look, another TCG that no one will play and it'll die in 5 months. Wow. Wow. A comedic tabletop RPG. Flabbergasted. No on misadventures. Like, this could be fun. I mean, I guess. Like, what are the mechanics like? Come on. Give me the mechanics. You're gonna tell me the mechanics, right? Oh no, I'm seeing a lot of actual plays. None of the mechanics. Go actually the game, how it's played. Okay. Let's see, character traits. Okay, dice pool system. Okay. Scene cues. Oh no. Oh no. Structure of the season. Oh no. Oh no. Why not? LCGs. People like TCG. Name sounds fun. Yeah. Very quiet. Not actually that. Not anything really like kind of jumping out these days on Kickstarter. I don't think anything's really able to at this point. So let's just go to itch real fast. See if there's anything fun and exciting over here. Everyone follow me on itch, please, God. Make me feel good about myself. Let's see. Is there anything fun here? What a pickle. Yeah, not really seeing anything. Oh, good. Oh, goodness. Nah, nothing really. Funman Police Department. Oh, no. Oh, no. Another Ruby RPG. Oh, boy, sign me the fuck up. Let's see. Another unofficial cut. Why don't they call it something different? They never do. What? Why is that the name? Why is that that's not even an acronym at that point. It's just the entire news. Okay. Fun fact for everyone involved. Anytime you have to like shorten a name to something, do this. Don't do this. Make it chop, make it like 5 letters, like AUR, like Ruby RPG, like that's even kind of pushing it. Like Ruby itself is like an acronym of something that doesn't exist. So it's like another, like, why? Like, I'm trying my no, Notepad, don't do this to yourself. Ruby, why? Let's see. Dear Fumin, starting date officially. Chinese versions, your incarnations of some Fumins commit crimes. It's 29 megs. Like, all right, let's look at this. Let's look at this Chinese game. Fuck yeah. Let's see. FMPD. How many pages? Oh, we got 45 pages. Oh, looks like we got a few. All right, this is kind of interesting. All right, I'm in. I'm gonna look at that later. I always like finding new things. Every now and again, I am pleasantly surprised by the nightmares that I encounter on a daily basis. Oh yeah, the rule of cool system. Yeah, the naming one. Yeah, the rule of cool system. That that Ruby, the unofficial Ruby RPG that uses the rule of cool system is actually pretty interesting. Has a lot of good ideas. The only problem is that it somehow manages to take a fucking Magnum revolver, shove it into its kneecap, and then just keeps pulling the fucking trigger. It's astounding. And it's only because it's Ruby. Like, that's the biggest problem with that game, is that it is Ruby. If it was not Ruby, I think that game would be really good, but it is. Oh no. Oh no, Varric. Varric, my boy. Oh, the official Sigma male RPG. We're getting a new one. Ignoble pilots, pilots of command. You're about to embark on your first mission, Glory of Command. We have faith in you. I have a mission ready for launch. Game about desperate mech pilots working with Titanic organization. Hack of Noble Core. Wait, there's a Mecha Jam? Ooh. Why do I never understand? Why do I never get these options? Let's see what submissions do we have. Oh god. This always makes me sad, is I never I never see these mech games until it's like way too late. So, Noble Core. Next vid. Rules like epic metal space fantasy TTRPG where heroes become legend that gets energy from bands like Gloryhammer, Dragon 4. Rules easily assemble exploding dice from heroes' titles. Browse relics, torments. Share and adapt. So yeah, okay. I mean, it's pretty standard stuff. Oh, not version 1, not version 2. It's version .2. You will enjoy Noble Core. You will enjoy this game, TM. Um, also, you ask why does Mr. Y? You ask why does Ruby taint that game so much? The issue is that it commits to the Ruby thing a little bit hard instead of letting itself fly. Its biggest issue is that it's like the dust mechanics, and there's a lot of little mechanics that go into that game that are like, well, this is a Ruby game, but it's actually not Ruby. It's fan canon Ruby. So if you want to get like canon stuff, you got to go to like the side rules, but the side rules are sometimes different. Than it's messy because it tries to commit to Ruby, but it doesn't commit to Ruby. But none of it lets it kind of fly the way I would want it to. Good ideas, just a lot of just kind of buried underneath a lot of other stuff. Uh, the girlfriend of my girlfriend is my friend. Oh no. Powered by Fate. Another Fate RPG. Is Fate coming back, boys? Fate's coming back. Yeah, no, it's like it's been, oh, what the fuck? 6 backgrounds for Troika, inspired by 2000s DeviantArt Zeitgeist. I am not. So it's better than Ruby? Not really. It has its own issues. Do your hair and meet up with your Gyaros. Oh, Jesus. Oh, wow. Ooh. Listening to Eurobeat. That's strong scent. Cruise around down the street should be raising hell, solving crimes, kick gangsters in the nuts. Oh, it's lasers and feelings. Oh boy. Oh god, my eyes bleed from looking at it. Wow, God, I love everything. No, Notepad, don't look at these things. You'll get hurt. I was playing some Fire Emblem Awakening and thought this would make a good tabletop role-playing game. This game is based off Fire Emblem Awakening. This game is 70 megs. Why is it? It's just there's so many fucking Fire Emblem RPGs out there. No, Notepad, don't do this to yourself. You are. Alright. What? Or this is gonna be 5 fucking pages, isn't it? Oh, yep, look, wow, it's like 5. Hello, community copies. Hello, community copies. I'll be taking that. Because I have literally no. Oh, spreads. Oof. Oof. Hey, this is what I live for. Alright, so that'll be that. I think we did a pretty good assortment. Well, Fire Emblem is already a TRPG. There are a few Fire Emblem inspired tabletop RPGs. Quite a few, in fact. Like, Fire Emblem is one of those games where everyone wants to play Fire Emblem, but they don't actually want to play Fire Emblem. What they want is they want the feeling of Fire Emblem. And people usually do that by making Final Fantasy Tactics. And Final Fantasy Tactics is the better game, and I will die on that hill. Fuck you. So, thank you all. I hope you all had a wonderful time. It's been 3 hours. Fuck. But looking at things that looking at the Notepad experience. Let's see things Notepad Anon wants to do. Next Monday we will be going over. We'll be doing the Redux. Actually, we'll be doing the Redux stream for Project Tactics, actually, Flagbearer, which was partially inspired by Fire Emblem. Yeah, it's been 3 hours. We'll be going over the Redux for that. That one isn't going to be too difficult. Once that one's over, the voting will actually begin for the next round of games. Yeah, there was just... I could not think of a good name for it. It just became Project Tactics. That was the name, and that's what stuck. It stuck as. For going forward, this next week, I have my 2 major plans. Is I want to get at least 2... my big thing is I want to get at least 2 of the little opinions up. It's probably going to be Kunai Academy. That's going to be one. I definitely know that one's just going to go up because I like Kunai Academy. That's my one weird thing. I don't know why I like. No way should I actually enjoy Kunai Academy as much as I do, but I do. I just think it's a fun game. What was the other one? And I'm going to also get the Tainted Bloodlines one up. Those are my 2 goals in that regard. I'm going to see about, seeing what people are kind of looking for the next classroom. I really don't know. If you ever have any suggestions, don't hesitate to post them in the lounge. Because good ideas are hard to come by. So, yeah, looking at this, I think I'm pretty good for today. So if any final questions, feel free to ask them. If you want to get a hold of me easier, yell at me at my Discord. I think all of you are in here. If you're not, find the link. It's not too difficult. So looking at that, I think we are Gucci. So thank you all, and I will see you all on